what we're going to do today is we're going to go over storytelling, which is kind of one of the really famous ones because it's very accessible. Here you are, you're in a group, you're now talking. It's kind of natural to start storytelling to each other. It can flow. There's no kind of gimmick or anything to it. You just start hanging out, getting to know each other. And the reason that storytelling is so powerful is because bragging is not powerful. Bragging is reverse powerful, right? So if you go into a setting, you say like, oh, my ex-girlfriend is a famous model. It's like, you're done. Like, that's completely weird of you to do, right? We can all agree that would just be a really strange thing to say to somebody you just met, right? What if it was part of a story? You know, what if you're like, you start telling this story about this crazy thing, and then somewhere in the story, you just so happen to mention, so now her car is broken down, she's just back from this photo shoot thing, and I have to go pick her up. So I'm driving down there to pick her up in the middle of this whole mess, and blah, 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 blah. Now, what was that? Photo shoot, right? Girl in your life that did a photo shoot, it's there, but you're not bragging about it. It was part of a larger story. Does that much make sense? I've got something better for you right now. You've all met him briefly. I'm going to bring him back up to the stage. He is one of my best friends in the world, and he's the shit at storytelling. It's Bravo. Give him a little love. So Bravo's going to tell a story that he actually tells in set, okay? And I'm going to kind of just interrupt him and just kind of point out where some of the spikes are. I'm not even going to point out all of them. I'm going to leave some of them for you guys to find without me even saying them, okay? So some of them I'll point out, some of them I won't. Pay attention for all of them. You want to just like introduce the story maybe?
Yeah, usually I use this, and it was actually sent out on a Week in Wingman. I use this after an opener, like, are you a dog or cat person? They give me their answer. I go, what do you think I am? And generally, most people think I'm a dog person. And I go, interesting, because I actually used to help my buddy train dogs. My friend and my brother bred American bulldogs that are like 120-pound pit bulls. But I actually have a cat. And then people usually snicker and smile at that. And I was like, yeah, I was actually leaving work one day, and I came out, and my truck was parked.
Actually, so I'm just going to stop him already. Did you guys catch it? He's got a job. You know, he's employed. But seriously, you know, a lot of guys walk up to a woman and they start telling them what they do for work. And it's like, I didn't ask you what you did for work. But he's telling a story, and he's conveyed that he does have a job. Also, already I heard the word truck. So he's got a car. So it's not a bad job. The guy can afford a car, right? But he's not coming up and saying, hey, I got this sweet truck. You want to come outside and see it? You know, that's like the lamest of the lame. But this is the subtlest of the subtle. And instead of having a bad effect, it's got a great effect.
I come outside, I look under my truck, and I see this like something underneath it. And as I start getting closer, there's like this little tiny fur ball underneath it. And as I get really close, I realize that's like this little kitten. And I'm in Phoenix back then, and it's like summertime. It's like 120 degrees out. And this little kitten's like underneath my truck trying to catch shade. And I'd been teaching all day. I was actually, I work at a gun range.
All right. So here's a little more detail. And without her asking, she now knows that he's a teacher, and she knows that he works at a gun range, which is kind of a cool job, you know. He's an instructor. He works with firearms. It's kind of neat, but he's not bragging. It's part of the story.
So I'm like totally wiped, and I just want to go home. And I have like my range bag with me, and I just want to get in my truck and drive away. And I'm trying to like get this cat out from underneath my truck, and it won't leave. So I like come up with a decision. Should I either like risk it and like drive away real slowly and hopefully not run it over? Or should I like try to wait and like get this cat out so I don't kill it? So I'm deciding, I'm trying to think, because I hate cats. And I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm a nice guy. I can't like kill the animal. Can't even take the risk. I'll try to get it out.
Which, you know, another DHV spike. Anytime you're showing a compassionate or a caring side of yourself, positive quality like that, that's going to be a DHV spike.
I get on my hands and knees, and I start like wiggling my fingers and making these like really gay kissy noises for like 10 minutes, and the thing's not budging. And actually a couple of my buddies pull up who are like Phoenix cops. They come out and see me.
All right. Pretty obvious one, right? The guy's hanging out with the cops in his city. He's obviously well networked. He's well liked. He's got people in positions of power that are buddies of his.
And they ask me what the hell I'm doing, and I'm like, oh, there's this kitten underneath my truck, and they're like, run it over. And I'm like, I can't do that. So anyways, I'm sitting there for about 10 minutes.
So that's actually another one, because somebody who he didn't run over the cat. That is a DHV. No, that is another one, because he wasn't socially pressured. It wasn't like his buddies are like, run it over, and he's like, so what the fuck? I turned the car on and I tried not to hit it. You know? He stops. He cares about the thing.
So finally, this little kitten starts moving. It takes a couple steps, and it runs up, hops in my lap, and reaches up with its paw and brushes my cheek and starts purring as loud as like I've ever heard a cat make a noise before.
All right, so there's a lot happening there. Okay, one, if I was a pretty girl, he really would have touched my face. Actually, if you guys weren't around, he would have probably touched my face too. We get close.
That's actually true.
No, but seriously, that touching a girl's face like that, it's this like intimate piece of Kino touching, right? That is embedded in the story. So he gets to do it, and it's not weird, but at the same time, he's like making this physical connection with her. Also, in that part of the story, an animal jumps into his lap. Come on, a girl's gonna eat that up. Like dogs and cats, they say can like sense evil or sense a really good person. The fact that the cat is loving him and running right up to him, it means something about who he is.
And it starts purring, and the little thing's like all skin and bones. It's covered in grease, and like my heart melts. And I actually feel bad for it. And my ex at the time, her parents lived down the street.
All right, stop. I'm not going to say this one. Who got it? Raise your hand. Who got it? There you go, right here.
He mentioned his ex.
Which means?
He's had a girlfriend before.
Which means that he's pre-selected. It means another woman once looked at this guy and said, you know what? That guy's worth dating. And seriously, women take that to heart because it's a shortcut. They don't have time to sit here and meet every single one of us and get to know who every single one of us is. They need shortcuts, okay? They need ways to quicken this process for them. And if another girl said he's awesome, he's probably awesome. He's at least worth giving a real shot to getting to know.
So I drive down the street, take it over to her parents' house. We end up giving it a bath and feeding it. And the parents are like, oh, this is the nicest cat ever. If you don't keep it, we'll keep it. And my ex at the time kept saying that she wanted a cat. And actually, I leave this part of the story out, like when I'm telling it to girls, but it was actually my ex-wife. And she kept saying she wanted a baby or a cat. And it was, I wanted a baby, I wanted a baby, I wanted a baby. And then it changed to I want a baby or a cat. And literally like 2 days later, God sent me a cat. So I'm thinking that I leave that part out.
Bravo.
I leave that part out. So I end up, I'm like thinking her parents like it so much. My ex wanted a cat. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'll take it home and see how it is. So I end up taking it home. And as I'm driving home, I hit Petco because I'm like, all right, I got to get like some kitty litter and some cat food and all that kind of stuff. And as I go in there, I see like this big, like tough guy walking with like a Rottweiler over on the right side of Petco. And over on the left is the cat food section. And I go in there and there's like these two dirty hippies playing with like the cat toys. And I was like, I don't want to be on that side of Petco. I want to be on that side of Petco. So I waited. I was actually so embarrassed buying like cat toys and stuff. I actually waited till everyone left. And I went and like got the kitty litter, got the kitten food, got a litter box. I went to the checkout line and actually really hot girl checking me out in the checkout line. And actually, as I got in the line, I was actually really embarrassed about her. I would have rather have gone to the store and bought like condoms and tampons at the same time. So
I got to do that one. Condoms, he's buying condoms, he's sexually active, right? He's comfortable with talking about it. Obviously, he's socially intelligent about it. Don't worry about that. That happens all the time.
So I go to check out. She ends up bringing me up. She's like, oh, my God, did you just get a cat? And I was like, yeah, I just found this like little stray underneath my truck. And she's like, oh, my God, that's so cute. And I was like, yeah, my girl wants a cat, so I'm bringing it home. She's like, oh, well, if you need any help or anything, let me know. I have a whole bunch of cats, and I can give you some advice and stuff. So right then, she's already like offering me like some help with this cat. And I'm married at the time. Like I said, I leave that part out of the story. But she's offering me this like info on cats. So I probably could have got her number right then. So I'm like, crap, this chick thinks it's really cool that I rescued this cat. So that was another reason why I wanted to keep it. Then I took it home that night. It ended up sleeping on my chest all night, and I was hooked, and now I have Callie.
All right. Give it up for Bravo. There were a lot of spikes that I didn't point out.